Good morning, mga televiewers ng Mag-Agri tayo. As promised in the previous episode, we are here to share to you the breeding of fancy pigeons. As part of BioResearch's commitment to the livelihood project, we would like to tackle with you why we should go into breeding ng fancy pigeons. So what are fancy pigeons? Fancy pigeons is fast becoming famous nowadays because of its appearance, its trait, its characteristic, and because it's also a high-value species. So, you can see fancy pigeons as compared to the racing pigeons, the appearance is totally different. Racing pigeons, you see them everywhere, and once you let them go, you release them, they fly away and you'll see them after several hours. Unlike the racing pigeons, the fancy pigeons, they have certain shows and competitions that people can go into. Normally, they compete for each category depending on the color, the size, the appearance. Some have really short beaks, some have really huge eyes, just like the Budapest. The Archangel, they have really nice patterns on their wings. And then they have the Oriental frills with cowlicks and everything. So there are over 300 varieties of fancy pigeons that everyone can go into. So it would be nice if you could join the craze now because breeding fancy pigeons is so easy. They pair on their own, they lay eggs, they take care of their young, and afterwards you can sell them with a good price. As I've said, breeding of fancy pigeons is very easy. It would just depend on your preference, like what variety you'd want to breed. It would depend if you would like their aerial performance, the way they fly, their flight patterns, or just simply the way it looks. So it is quite subjective, but we would like to assure you whatever breed you choose to go into, there is always a potential market for it. Okay, now going back to breeding, in choosing the parent stock, for instance, I personally would like to recommend the Capuchins for the way it looks because of the frills they have on their neck. And then for the performance, I would like to go for the Italian White Falcon Homers or the Flying Tipplers instead. So why? For the Italian White Falcon Homers, they fly in a very distinct pattern. They fly in a circle just above the area where they grew up. They would fly for 30 minutes to an hour and then go back to where they nest. As for the Flying Tipplers, they fly in a very high and really tight circle for at least 14 hours straight to a maximum of 22 hours, which is the world record. So you can see, if you release them in the morning, even at night, they're still there just flying in a tight circle and they will surely entertain you. In choosing how you're gonna breed, you must select at least a proven pair. It would become easier if you want to start off. Because if you just get a selection of pigeons and you put them in a cage, some of them might not pair naturally. And it will be difficult for you to get back your investment. Unlike if you get a proven pair, now they've already naturally paired, if you go to a shop and get those, once you bring them to your home, they would automatically breed and tuloy-tuloy na yan once naumpisahan. In choosing your parent stock, let's go for the Capuchins first. For the Capuchin, the most important thing that you should look at would be the frill. If their frill is just here up to the neck, those are not pretty. You should get a frill that's all around, up the chest area, with really, really huge frills coming out, which is just like a cape covering their whole neck. As for the Flying Tipplers, normally their color is mottled with a white base. That's the original ones. And if you want to go further into the nitty-gritty standards of it, it would be best to get up and look at the references and select from those. Italian White Falcon Homers would be basically the same as racing pigeons, however, they're just pure white. Make sure there's not a spot of black, there's not a taint of black, there's not even a single feather with a black tint on it. So that would be the best when you select your parent stock. Once you get the parent stock as pairs, you've selected the variety that you would like, and of course, all of them are within standards with the right quality with proper references, then you go into breeding. So the pigeons, they mature in about 8 months. At the age of 8 months, they would start to pair. Just in case hindi pair yung nakuha ninyo, this is what we should do. You have a male and a female. Now you get a bigger cage, put a divider in between, then put them in separate compartments. Kailangan to because once you put them together at once and they're not paired, they would fight. And we wouldn't want that, kundi magkaka-casualty tayo. So having the divider in between, they get to see each other every day, they get to know each other. Then once makikita nyo na they're very comfortable with each other, they try to like kiss and all of that, then you take the divider out, then that's the natural pairing. Once you have that, then it's good, you have a proven pair. Now, for basic maintenance, all you need to remember when it comes to pigeon is to avoid having a damp area. It's okay to have sunlight, which is really good, then proper feeding, then having clean water every day, but just avoid having the place wet. Because once the place is wet and water evaporates and it becomes humid, then there comes a problem and sickness would come in. So we would like to avoid that. So pag mature na yung mga pigeons natin, tapos nag-pair na sila naturally, then there comes breeding. But of course, before that, there is courtship. You would see yung male and female, medyo naging cuddly, close and cuddly sila. They would groom each other, sometimes they would kiss, they would feed each other food. Pag nakita nyo ng ganon, nako, anytime, magbe-breed na yan. After a few days, makikita mo the male would follow the female instinctively, the female would go. Susundan lang siya ng male. Tutuka-tukain siya, asking her to go back to the nest kasi malapit na siya mag-lay ng eggs. So once you see that, alam nyo, there are eggs on the way. Now, when the female goes there, lays the egg, then after 18 days, you'll have the hatchlings, the squabs. And ang male and female take turns yan na mag-alaga. In the morning, normally male yung nag-aalaga, and in the evening, female naman yung nag-aalaga. So it's so easy. The pigeons take care of their young, they feed them, they groom them, and after 30 days, they're ready to go. As I said, the single most important thing if you want to go into pigeon breeding is to get a proven pair. Because once you have a proven pair, then tuloy-tuloy na yung production mo. And for those who will want to go into this full-time, we would suggest you get at least 20 pairs para volume na yung production mo, tuloy-tuloy. Huwag kayong mag-alala because assured kayo of the market. Bio Research is here. We're always open. You could always bring to us your produce. If some would like to ask, like, ano ba yung market price nito? On the average, fancy pigeons, for a pair of it, you could sell at 1,000. So, kung every time mangitlog siya, meron ng 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. But of course, the price would depend on the variety of the fancy pigeon that you would choose. There are those that would go up to 5,000 a pair. So, depende na po sa inyo kung ano yung mga gusto ninyong alagaan, ano yung feel ninyo ng mga itsura, or kung ano may nakakapag-entertain sa inyo, then go into that. So there, in keeping or breeding pigeons, it's not all work. It's also fun and enjoyable. Kasi these pigeons, they could entertain you, relax you, relieve you of stress, while kumikita ka pa. So for additional information, just look at the screen. Our number is there. You could always contact Alan Lee or Miss Cora Coloso for further input. So just keep on watching Mag-Agri tayo because we're sure we'll give you more tips on pet breeding and livelihood opportunities which can generate you some extra income. So thank you so much for watching.